Hello friends. So till now we have completed 8 classes. I have received your multiple queries, your interest. This boosts my motivation to make more and more videos. Today I was supposed to start the video on extension and overlaying, but for now I am skipping it. Today we will start query concept. Today we will see the queries concept in the video. Why I'm taking this is that because this will help you in revising your concepts of forms, overriding methods, because I have seen your multiple queries was on methods and forms. So this will help you in revising your concepts. And extension we will take it later after view and map. I will also share the revised table contents. Now today we will see the queries. How many type of queries: static query, dynamic queries, and we will also understand the very important, the most frequent used concept, query object model. This you need to understand it very focusedly. Yeah, please give utmost attention. Please give utmost attention to that concept, query object model, because this is going to be used most frequently everywhere in your programs, while writing filters, while writing queries, in any methods. So today we will see that query object model, how to write dynamic queries, how to add ranges, relations in queries. So let us have a deep dive session on query. Queries. So as the name suggests, it enables us to ask question about the data in the database and retrieve information. So we need to ask our question in a proper format. So we have to write our query based on a set of predefined code or predefined format, so that our database understand that instruction and give us the required result. So we can retrieve required information based on our query. So there are two ways to create queries. One is static queries, another is dynamic queries. So for static queries, we can use graphical interface of AOT for creating queries, and for dynamic queries, we have to use query system classes. Let us see it in the system. Let me create one query. Let's say if I have a query to retrieve all the employees salary who are male. So on the gender basis, if I want to see the salary of the employees, like what are the salaries of my employees who are male. So this is my question that I want answer. Let's make a query for this. Retrieving all the salary, all the employees salary who are male. So my query is retrieving all the employees salary of gender type male. So my query is retrieving all the employees salary of gender male. So this is my question that I have to ask to the database. Let's make a static query for this. So for that I will go here, right click, add. I will go to the data model. First I will select new item, then data model. I will select query. I will name it as query add. So now see, it's added in simple queries. So as you can see, this is the graphical interface for creating queries. This is known as static query. So like this you have to create the static query, and behind the scene the sysquery and sysquery classes are used. So if you can see here, this queries node contain the following subnodes: methods, event, data source. So method node displays all the methods available in the query. You can also override methods, and you can add new method also. We have already seen in forms how to override methods, how to create new method. It's the same structure in data source. Now the data source contains all the data source from which the query gets its data. So you have to define from where this query will get the data. The query data source can be a table, map, or a view. We will see map or view later in our videos. For now we will take table as a database. Now our question to the system was, we want to retrieve the employee salary having the gender male. So data sources can be nested inside each other. So here first data source is the parent data source, and the nested data source is referred to as a child data source. So now in our case the data source is, we will take our table EMPL table, we will drag this and we will put in this data source. So our parent data source is pp underscore EMPL table. Now if you expand this node, you will see there are now subnodes available. So we have fields, ranges, again data source node. This is our child data source. Here we have to define. Now under this data source node we will define our child data source, and in this case we have the salary, because we want to retrieve the salary for the employees. So we have added the child data source pp underscore EMPL salary. Our parent data source is pp underscore EMPL table. Now let us discuss all these nodes. If I expand this child data source also, there are some subnodes also. Let us discuss nodes and subnodes one by one. So first is fields. Now this fields node contains the data elements written by the data source. Now the data source can be either a table, map or view. In our case we have taken table as a data source. So now if you can see here, now there are no fields available in this query. So if I have to create fields or if I have to define fields, I have two options. One, I can fetch directly from the data source. Now if you see here, there is dynamic field property. If I set it to yes, then system will automatically return the fields from the data source. Now all the fields from the table are added in this query. Now if I don't want these fields, or if I want only 2-3 fields, because the more fields I will use in my query, it will affect the performance. So for that I have to go here in dynamic property, I will set it to no, and then I can go manually and delete those fields which are not required. In my case, let me delete all the records. So I have deleted all the fields. Now this fields node here also, this enables us to add any aggregate field based on the field in the source data source. So if we want to add any sum field, average, minimum, max, so if I right click now new, so I can add any of the aggregate field also. So we have seen here property dynamic field. If I set it to yes, then automatically all the fields from the table will be added here in the query. So if it is no, then I am having the option to choose from this. I can add any aggregate field. The only condition is that I can apply all these things in the field which are there in my source database. Now the next is range. So this node contains ranges that limit the number of records written by the query. So if I define the range, then the query will return me only those records that matches the range expression. So for the range I have to add one field here. In that field I can set the value property. I can define the expression. Based on that expression, that value, I can limit the number of records written by the query. So the more complex the range expression, it will affect the performance. This we will see practically, how to define the range, how to set the value for that range. Now next is data source. This already we discussed. Now the group by. This group by node also, this is used to restrict the field combination to only the unique value combination. Okay, so if there are multiple records in the table, if the unique ID, so if in a table there are multiple records for the same unique ID, and if you want one single record for that unique ID, then we can use this group by function. Let's say right now in our example which we are taking, we need the employee wise full salary. So in the employee salary table there are multiple records for the same employee ID. So what we can do here, we can group by the employee ID in employee salary table. So what we have to do, we need to group by employee ID, because we want one single record and we want the aggregate salary, the full salary. So here for the employee ID we can use
So the other fields in the query will be processed by aggregate functions for the salary, like the salary amount. So we have to use the aggregate function because we want the total sum, because we have the, because in this case in the group by, let's say we will add the group by field. I will add the field EMPL ID. So we are doing group by employee ID. So now what this will return is that this will return the one record for the unique ID. So for one employee ID there will be only one record. So this we have set by the group ID. Now like amount field from the salary, that we have to use the aggregate function that we will see in the data source, child data source. Once we will add field, we have to use the sum field, because in that field, in that table there will be multiple records for this same employee ID, and we have used the group by function. So the other fields in the query, that will be processed by aggregate function. We cannot use the normal fields because we have done the group by in this query. So once we will use the group by function, so other fields will be processed by aggregate function. So in our case, in our child data source, we have to add the aggregate fields because we have used the group by employee ID. So other fields like amount, salary, we have to use as aggregate fields. This we will see. Now we have added the group by, we have defined the group by. Now order by, this node contains the sort order for the data source. So for the sorting, if you want ascending order, descending order for that particular field, let's say for employee ID, if I have to add, I will add the same employee ID. I will use the employee ID and I will use the ascending order. So we have defined group by, we have defined order by. Now let us create the fields. Let's define the field. So for that I will set the database data dynamic field property to yes. See, automatically the field will be created. Now in the child data source, I cannot use this property dynamic field because I have used group by function on this table, because I have grouped the records based on the unique ID. Now I have to use the aggregate function. So here I will go right click, new, sum, and my field is amount. So like this I will create fields here. So whenever we use any group by function on the table, we have to use the aggregate functions in the query. So till now we have created one query, we added two data source, parent data source is this, child data source is this, we have used the group by, we also defined the order by, employee ID in ascending order. Now comes the relations. Now this relation, this is very important concept, relations. So this relation is very important with reference to the query. For the tables also we created relations, we have seen, please refer to that video if you are not seen that video. That is very important video to understand how relation works, how many type of relations we can create. So if you go to the data source, if you see here, there is one property, use relations. If it is set to yes, then the system will automatically add a relations from the child data source to the parent data source. Okay, so if I set to yes, then system will automatically create the relations. Now if it is no, we can create our own relations. Here we can define. Now if I have to define relation in our, for our query, I will define new relation. I will add the field employee ID, join data source, I can use the pp underscore employee table, related field also EMPL table. So now see, our relations is created, pp dot employee table employee ID equal to pp salary dot employee ID. So this is my where clause where I have defined my relation. So my relation is ready. I have added the aggregate function also. I have created the fields. So we have created the relations here. So now we have two options. One, we can use the relation which we created in the table level. So for that I have to set the property use relations yes. If no, then we can create our own relation here, Now also there is one more property related to relation. This is the join mode. You can see here. So here we can define what type of join is there in bit, and this join mode property indicates the type of join exists between a parent data source and a child data source. So we have four options: inner join, outer join, exist join, or exist join. By default it is inner join. So like this, now our query is ready. Now we can see how we can use it. We can use the same query in the view also. We will see this in our next video, how to use the query in a view. Now I will demonstrate this, how to use the static query in code. So this we created our static query. This we can use in anywhere in our program also. So let me use this query in our runnable class. Through runnable class, let me run this query, how the data is coming. So what we did till now, we created, I will collapse this. So we added one data source, then here the child data source is employee salary. Then we have group by based on the employee ID. On employee salary I did group by, the tab field is employee ID, and order by is employee ID. The relation we created. Now this our query is ready. For now we can see via runnable class or in a job how to use the static query. So let us see it in the system. So let me create a runnable class to see the result written by this query. Now we can see new item in code. pp underscore, the query name is salary query. So before going to the program, let me describe the query object model that we need to understand even before understanding the dynamic queries. So we discussed that we have two type of queries. One is static queries. Static queries we already finished. Now we will go to the dynamic queries. Before going to the dynamic queries, or to see how to use the static query in program, we need to understand the concept of query object model. This is very important. Query object model contains classes to define and run the query. So these objects are used to define the query data source, but in case of static queries, we already define the data source, the fields written, the range, the relation in the static query only. Okay, so in dynamic query, this query object model will help us to define the query data source also, the fields also, the ranges also, the relations also, the group by, order by, everything we can do via query object model. So how it works is that now we have in query object model, one is query run. We have query run. So this query run class, this runs the query. Another one is query. So this query class, this embodies the structure of query. So here query run object will be assigned to query object. So this query contains one or more data source. So in our case, for static queries, we have to assign that static query in this query class. Then query run class will run this query. So this is the hierarchy. In query, you attach all your data source, range, and the query run helps to run the query. Another is query build data source. This query build data source, this also object, this defines access to data source in query. So you can assign your table, view, or map in this data source. Now another is query build range. So here, like in static queries, you have defined the range to limit the records based on the expression. So here in this dynamic query also, you can use this query object model, query build range. You can define the subset of records written based on a single field. So like in a where statement you write in the SQL statement, it's the same concept you have to use. You can write your expression here in query build range, and you can assign a value in that. So these are very important objects of query object model. These we are going to use in dynamic queries also. In static query, when you have to run the static query in the program, then we need to use these concepts. So now we created, as you know, we created now one static query. Now we will run this static query with the help of these objects. So let me first define the table. Salary, now I will use the concept of query object model. So I will use the query class. In this query class, the object will be q type. Will initialize this, and in this query I will pass my static query. So my static query to pass is the query str. I have to give the name of the query. So my name of the query was people salary query. Now I will use another query object model class, that is the query run. So this query run class is used to run the query. So in query run class I will create the object qr, and I will run new query run. So this is the template to execute the query. This you will need while creating dynamic queries also, and if you have to run any static query also, you have to write in the same format. So in the query run I will pass my query, above query which I have defined. Now I have to run it, so I will use the while loop. So I have to run till I find the next record. So I have to underscore in impl table buffer. And get the data. So from the query I am giving the value to the buffers. Salary, now we created two table buffers. In this buffer, from the query we have assigned the value from impl table and impl salary respectively. Now I will give the info command to print the employee salary as it is amount. I have to use strfmt. dot amount. So I have to print. I will run this now. We need to print only 2, then I will remove this. We want to print only 2 variables, so no need of %3. I will start this. See, now the result is printed. Employee ID salary 1002 2300 salary 1003 employee ID and salary is 1000. So like this we have to use static query in the program. We have to use the objects of query object model. Now before going to the dynamic query, I think I missed to explain about how to add range in the simple queries, static queries. So let me go back again. I think we have not defined the range. Okay, so now our objective was to retrieve the employee salary of gender male. So gender male, so where we will put the range, we will put the condition in the field gender. So what we have to do, we have to go here, drag this field gender in the range column section, then right click, properties, in the value. Now here you can write your expression. So in our case it is gender is male. So by default the expression works as equal to, so you can write equal to also, not equal to, yeah, so you can use multiple operators here. So complex range expression can impact performance, so we are using only simple range expression. If you have to use more complex, we can go to the dynamic queries. Now there is one more in the range, you can see one more property, status. If it is open means the user can modify the query range. If it is locked, now you can see if I expand this, it is open, locked and hidden. In case of lock, the user can see the range but cannot modify it, and if it is hidden, the user cannot see the range but can add ranges to the query. So now we have status, open, locked, hidden. We have seen the range also. Now let's go to the dynamic query. So we have finished the static query. In the static query, let me summarize. We have added one query, we added parent data source, we added child data source, we have done the group by on employee ID, order by employee ID ascending, and in data source we have used the aggregate field. Why? Because we have used the group by function. If you have used the group by function, then you have to use the aggregate function, and we have added the relation also. Now our query is ready. We have seen how to use this query in program. So this we have seen, we have completed this. Now come back to the dynamic query. Now another is dynamic query. So dynamic query, the same its model. I will give you the sample. I will add here, I will show you the sample of dynamic query. So let me comment this. So this is the sample for dynamic query. Like I explained you in our example also, we have to use the query object model classes. So here also I used query class, query run class, query build data source. Here in this example I have used query build data source and query build range, because in static queries we have already created that, we have already assigned the data source and range via graphical interface. In static queries we have provision of graphical interface. In static queries we create static queries via AOT. So there we directly drag and drop our data source, we can add range, we can apply group by, order by. Here we have to do it in code. So to add data source in code, you have to use this query build data source class, query build range. So the syntax is this: in the object of query you add the data source QBD. In QBD, in this query you add this data source, you have to assign the name of table. Then in the range you have to give the table name and field name, and for that range if you have to assign value, you have to use this format, and this format you can assign, you can define your expression. By default, if you write only the name, then by default operator is equal to. If you have not written any operator, like here you have written get an equal to, so by default operator is equal to. So if I write here 1000 only, then system will take equal to 1000. So here you can assign any value, any expression, and you can do sorting also. So this is the syntax, this is the format of creating a dynamic query. So let us take one practical example to understand this dynamic query. First let me comment this so that I will not get any error while building. Right now I have not specified this table name, that's why I am commenting it. Otherwise system will give the error that your table is not defined, the table name is not correct. So now let us see here. So now what we have to do is, this is our employee master. So to understand the concept of dynamic query, what we can do is we can create one control, filter control. If I click on that control, I should be able to filter out the employees having the age less than 18 years. So we can create one checkbox control. If I click on that checkbox, I should be able to filter out the records. So let us create that control. I have to go to EMP detail form. Let me create the control here only in customer group, custom group. So I need to create checkbox type control, and click this, and the properties, year, also give label. I have to set auto declaration yes. Why? Because I have to use this control in my program. So if you want to use that control in your program, you have to set auto declaration to yes, otherwise system will give you the build errors. Now here what I will do is I will override the modified method. So if I click on this, I want to run my query. So in modified, so now this is my modified method. In last video we have seen how to override form methods. Same way we have to write here. So below super I am calling the execute query method underscore data source execute query. Now I will write my logic in execute query method of data source. In modified I have called this method only. So in modified I have written only this. Now what I will do, I will write my all the logic in execute query method. So I will go to the data source. Now here I have to override method of, so here I have to override execute query method. Execute query. First I have to clear the ranges which already exist. For in our case right now there is only one data source in this form, so I just want to clear the ranges, dot checked. If I get this value true, what I want to execute is first I will take one variable where I want the date 18 years before the current date. This today date to find the latest system date get, and from this date I have to go back to 18 years before. So for that 18 years multiply by 1 year is 365. So here I will get the date 18 years. Okay, now I have to apply the range. Here I have to apply the range. I have to filter the data based on the birth date. So apply the range. So for this query I have to go to the database. Sorry, here I have not. Data source number dot add range. So I have to add range in my employee birth date field. So first I have to use this field num, name of table, birth date. So this is range. Now we have to pass value in this range to get the value, dot value, and we have to pass value in range. Yeah, 18 years before till date we have to filter that data. If that control is ticked, we want to get the data of the employees having the age less than 18 years. So for that we have to pass the date range. So I have to use the query range, and in this range I will pass the date. One we already have, underscore date we calculated, date from this date to till now, system date get, sorry, system so I think it is done. I will close the if bracket. Okay, now I will save this. So our build is successful. Let me revise the concept. Till now what we did is we created one control checkbox less than 18 year. In that control we have override the method modified. In modified we have called the data source method execute query, and here we have written our logic, our query, where we are filtering the data. We are filtering the employees whose age is less than 18 years. So for that we have declared one variable date. In that date we are getting the date which is 18 years before the current date, and we are applying the range on employee birth date, and we are putting the value 18 years till today. So we are getting the data all the employees whose age is less than 18 years. So our query is ready. We will see here will refresh it for you. So now we have 3 records in this form. If you see, we have do we have any record where age is less than 18 years? Yes, we have this one. So if I filter it out, you can see our control checkbox is there. So if I filter it, only one record should come, this one, because if you this is 2014 is less than 18 years. If I click on this, so the required result is coming. So our logic is working here, our query is working. So what we have done, we have override the modified method in this, and we have written the logic in this execute query of this data source. In that execute query, we have written our query to filter out the employees having the age less than 18 years. So guys, revise this. See you all in my next video. Thank you.